It's not that she stopped loving you, it's that you carry too many red flags and you don't even realize it. You might have loved her with all your heart, given her everything you had, but one day she just walked away, cold, silent, without a single explanation. And maybe you didn't do anything obviously wrong, but that doesn't mean you were right either. The truth is, there are red flags, subtle but powerful signs that women always notice. Even when men choose to ignore them, sometimes just one careless action, one misplaced attitude is enough to make her choose to walk away forever. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 10 red flags in men, things that may seem harmless on the surface, but have the power to destroy love from the inside out. If you truly want a relationship that lasts, if you want to be the kind of man she can feel safe with, then these are 10 things you absolutely cannot afford to ignore. 1. Not respecting women, a silent reason she walks away. You can bring her flowers, pick her up, tell her you love her every single day, but if deep down you don't truly respect women, sooner or later she will walk away, and she won't ever come back. Respect isn't in sweet words, it's in the little things. The things you do when no one's watching. It's when you listen to her without interrupting, when you don't dismiss her feelings, or call her thoughts silly or emotional. It's when you don't treat cooking, cleaning, sacrificing as things she's just supposed to do. Many men think they're good guys because they don't cheat, they don't hit, but they don't see the damage they cause when they constantly belittle women with careless words like, "You don't even know what you're talking about. You're a woman, you're just being moody. Let me handle that. You stay out of it." These aren't words of love, they're disguised disrespect, wrapped in fake concern. A modern woman doesn't need to be treated like a princess. She needs to be treated like a person. Someone with a voice, with value. If you only see her as someone who walks beside you and not someone who walks with you, she'll eventually step off that path and keep walking without you. The scariest part is she won't fight you, she won't cry, she won't make a scene. She'll just slowly begin to change, talk less, share less, need you less, and then one day she'll disappear from your life, as if she was never even there. 2. Emotional manipulation. When love turns into a silent battlefield, imagine this for a second. She comes home from work, tells you it was a rough day, her boss yelled at her, she's exhausted and emotionally drained. But instead of listening, you shrug and sigh, and you say, "You're overreacting again, I'm even more stressed than you." She turns away, goes quiet, you feel annoyed, and she says nothing more. You think silence means the issue is gone. But for her, it's quiet disappointment building up inside. And without knowing, you're turning her feelings into something small, something inconvenient. You're even making her feel guilty for opening up to you. Emotional manipulation isn't always obvious. Sometimes, it's when you stay silent so she has to guess what's wrong. Act cold so she thinks she's the one who messed up. Raise your voice, not to express yourself, but to make her back down. You're using emotion as a weapon, not to connect, but to control. She says, "I'm feeling sad." You respond, "You're always like this, I'm tired." Every time you do that, you're twisting the truth and making her question her own emotions. And eventually, she'll stop sharing anything with you at all. Love isn't a power game. It's not a contest to see who can endure more in silence. Because when love becomes a battlefield of blame and cold shoulders, the one who lets go first is usually the one who once held on the tightest. And then you'll wonder, why didn't she say anything? Why did she just leave? But the truth is, she did say something. You just didn't listen. Or worse, you chose not to understand. 3. Lack of life direction. When she feels like she's in love with an empty shell. It might sound funny at first, but many women have loved a man who they thought was just lost for a little while. They told themselves, he's just confused, he'll figure it out soon. But month after month, year after year, he kept circling the same unfinished plans, half-hearted goals, and a future that looked more and more unclear. That man might be kind, sweet. He might even love her deeply, but he doesn't know what he wants in life. No passion, no goals, no direction. And eventually, she gets tired. She never asked you to be wildly successful. She never needed you to make millions. Truly, modern women don't need perfection. They just need someone who's trying to be better. You can start from nothing, as long as you know where you're going. But if you live like, let's just see where life takes me, or I'll figure it out later, she'll slowly start to feel like I'm standing still next to someone who's not moving. And that feeling is more heartbreaking than betrayal. She has dreams, ambitions, things she wants to achieve in life. And if the person beside her doesn't even know why he wakes up in the morning, then love alone won't be enough to hold her there. Love is about looking in the same direction. But if you haven't even chosen your direction, you're just someone wandering in circles, and she can't wait for you forever. Maybe you don't need to succeed right now, but at the very least, show her that you're moving forward, that you're not standing still, because the woman who loves you will stay. If she sees hope in you, but once you lose that hope, you'll lose her too. 4. Over-controlling. When love becomes a beautiful cage, in the beginning, you thought calling her all the time, asking where she is, who she's with, what she's wearing, was love. You thought that meant you cared deeply, that you loved her more than anyone ever could. But sometimes that kind of caring smells a lot like control. No one wants to live in a love where they have to ask for permission just to be themselves. She used to be free, joyful. She wore the dress she liked, laughed with her friends, spent quiet nights alone with a book and her favorite music. But ever since she started loving you, she began to shrink herself. She stopped wearing bright clothes because you didn't like the attention. She turned down group hangouts because you always got jealous. She stopped posting pictures because you asked who took that photo. And slowly, she lost herself, trying to keep a love where she could no longer be who she truly was. Love is about being yourself and still being loved. But when a relationship forces someone to change just to avoid conflict, that's no longer love. That's quiet suffering. The sad thing is, you didn't mean to hurt her. You thought you were just loving her, caring too much, trying to protect what's yours. But while you were protecting her, she felt like she was being caged. Love is not a beautiful cage. Even if it's lined with velvet, no one wants to live in it forever. One day, you'll notice she doesn't argue anymore. She doesn't push back when you say no. You'll think she's more obedient now. But no, that's the moment she's already too tired to fight. And when a woman goes silent, it's because she's already planning to leave. 5. Saying one thing, doing another. When your words lose value and trust fades away. You told her you'd change, that you'd make more time for her, that you'd quit smoking, drink less, work harder. You made promises, she believed you. But then, nothing really changed. You might think, it's just small stuff, it's not like I cheated or did something terrible. But what you forget is this: for women, repeated disappointment is the fastest way to kill trust. She never asked you to be perfect, she just needed you to keep your word. A man may have nothing in his hands, but if he's a man of his word, he's still worth loving. But if you keep promising, then forgetting, committing, then backing out, eventually she won't believe a single thing you say anymore, not even when you say, I love you. The pain a woman carries isn't always from big betrayals. Sometimes it's from the little broken promises, stacked one on top of the other until it all collapses. She waited for you to show up on time, but you were late and didn't even text. She believed you'd skip the game to video call her, but you forgot again. She hoped you'd be there on that important day, but you had an excuse, like always. Every time it happened, she believed in you a little less. And when trust runs out, love has nothing left to hold on to. Men often think words are just words, gone with the wind. But to a woman, every word you speak carries weight. It can be a brick building the foundation of trust, or a shard of glass that breaks everything she was trying to hold together. 6. Not knowing how to apologize when your ego becomes bigger than the one you love. There are men who are always right. Even when they're wrong, they still try to prove they're right. They don't say I'm sorry, they just go silent and hope the problem disappears. They don't admit their mistakes. Instead, they blame the situation. Or worse, they blame the woman they hurt in the first place. Have you ever done that? Made her cry, then turned away because you don't like drama, hurt her feelings, but said things like, "You're just too sensitive," or "I didn't even say anything, what more do you want?" A sincere apology takes 5 seconds to say, but it can save a relationship that's slowly falling apart. Still, many men choose to hold on to their pride instead of holding on to the woman they love. She doesn't need you to always be right. She just needs someone mature enough to say, "I was wrong. I'm sorry I made you feel that way." Not because you're weak, but because you respect her, and you respect the love you've both built together. Women don't walk away because of one mistake. They walk away when they're with someone who never owns up to any of them. Don't make her do your part. Don't leave her to feel the pain, then comfort herself, then forgive you. All because you couldn't say one honest sentence. A relationship can't go far if only one person keeps bending while the other stands too proud to ever bow their head. 7. Not valuing her emotions. When she starts to feel like just a shadow beside you, she tells you about a rough day at work, and you scroll through your phone. She excitedly shares a small win. You respond without looking. "Cool, that's nice." She stays quiet because she's tired. You don't notice. You just ask, "Why have you been so quiet lately?" The truth is, you didn't do anything clearly wrong, but you didn't do anything right either. Nothing that made her feel seen or understood. There's a small story. A girl comes home after a long, exhausting day. She cooks dinner, cleans up, then sits down beside her boyfriend, who's still focused on his game. She doesn't complain. She just says softly, "I got yelled at by a client today. Felt terrible." He replies without looking, "Yeah, that sucks," and keeps his eyes on the screen. That wasn't a fight, but it was something worse. It was silence that kills a relationship slowly. Because women don't need you to solve all their problems. They just need you to understand how they feel. And more importantly, to genuinely want to understand. When you constantly dismiss her emotions or treat them like they're nothing, she begins to build a distance inside. Quietly, slowly, but definitely. She doesn't blame you right away. But one day, she stops sharing altogether. And that's the moment you truly lose her. Not in an instant, but after countless moments of being emotionally forgotten. A relationship doesn't break because love runs out. It breaks when someone no longer feels loved at all. 8. Comparing her to your ex or other women. When you turn her into a contest no one wants to enter. She doesn't need to be as pretty as your ex. She doesn't have to cook like your mom or be as funny as some girl you follow online. She just wants to be herself and still be fully loved for who she is. But you often compare her to someone else, sometimes without even realizing it, other times on purpose. It might come out as a casual comment. "My ex used to love reading books, just like you," or a careless remark. "Why can't you cook that dish like my mom does?" It sounds harmless to you, no bad intentions, just a thought you shared. But to her, it's not just a sentence, it's a cut. To her self-worth, it's the feeling of being weighed, measured, compared to someone she never asked to compete with. You don't see it as wrong because you think you're just offering feedback. But she hears something else. She hears, "I'm not enough. I'm not like them. I'm not worthy of being loved, just as I am." Love is about acceptance, not about constantly reshaping someone into the version you had in your head. You can't ask for genuine love while constantly making her feel like she has to earn it. Women don't walk away because you complimented someone else. They walk away when they no longer feel like the only one in your eyes. 9. Verbal abuse. You don't have to hit her to hurt her enough to make her leave. You never hit her, you never raised a hand. But have you ever used your words like knives, cutting into her heart, day after day? "You're so annoying. Just shut up, I'm tired. You can't even do that right. You're useless." Or worse, those half-joking insults like, "You call that cooking? Feels like dog food." You didn't think it was abuse, but in truth, This is the most silent and toxic kind of violence there is. Many men believe, as long as they don't hit women, they're still decent guys. But sometimes, a single cruel sentence hurts longer than a slap ever could. She used to be cheerful, talkative, always sharing her world with you. Now every time you open your mouth, she flinches inside, goes quiet, forces a smile, not because she's fine, but because she's afraid of being mocked, dismissed, hurt. Again, you think she's becoming quieter, more obedient, more calm, but no, that's the sign of someone shrinking themselves to avoid hearing another painful word. Love can't survive in a place where someone feels small every day. No one wants to stay with someone who constantly makes them feel dumb, unworthy, or like they're never enough. 10. Not truly listening. When her voice becomes background noise, have you ever been in a conversation where it felt like you were talking to yourself? That's how many women feel. Even when they're in a relationship, it's not that you don't respond, it's that you only listen to reply or to argue, not to understand. She opens up about her feelings, you interrupt her, she shares a problem, you rush to fix it. Without asking if she even needed a solution, she confides in you about something painful, and you shut it down with, "It'll pass, you're overreacting." Sounds calm, sounds logical, but in reality, you're denying the feelings of the person you say you love. Every woman has felt this at some point, sitting across from someone she loves, opening her heart, hoping to be heard, only to be met with hurry, half-interest, and judgment. Eventually, she stops talking, not because she has nothing left to say, but because no one is truly listening. You think silence means peace, but often silence is the sound of a heart quietly retreating. Relationships don't die because love disappears. They die when one person stops speaking and the other no longer wants to hear. Message just for you. Did you see yourself in any of the red flags we talked about? Maybe you didn't mean to. Maybe you thought you were just a little distant, a little busy, or that it was no big deal. But here's what you might have forgotten. Women don't walk away because of one mistake. They walk away because you made the same mistake too many times and never truly changed. They don't need a perfect man. They just need someone who listens, who values them, and who's brave enough to make it right when they've been hurt. A man doesn't lose a woman in a single moment. He loses her. In every moment, he makes her feelings feel small. If you've ever hurt someone you love, please don't wait until they go completely silent to finally start listening, because by then, the only thing left to hear will be the echo of your regret.